Hello, my name is Julie Harris. I'm 53 years old. I've been diagnosed with primary pulmonary arterial hypertension. First, I was diagnosed 5 years ago, whereas my local hospital said I had COPD, and it wasn't until the respiratory doctor retired 2 years later that my chronic conditions, Kim Troman, said my condition hadn't improved, and she recommended me to go up to Llanelli and see Professor Keir Lewis. As I was prepared to travel, he agreed to see me, and I saw him for the first time, and he said I didn't fit the normal box of having sleep apnea or COPD. He arranged tests for me to have, but unfortunately my local hospital lost all the results, and I had to then have them redone in Prince Philip a month later, whereas Professor Keir Lewis took a very keen interest in my condition, and he actually referred me to Dr. Jenkins in Morriston Hospital, who at first refused to see me, but with Professor Keir Lewis's knowledge and experience, he got him to see me, and he agreed that I had primary pulmonary arterial hypertension and that I needed specialised treatment. I was offered to go to Sheffield or to Hammersmith Hospital in London. I chose Hammersmith Hospital because it would be closest, although it's not close, it's a long way away. And I had to go up there and had a right heart and left heart catheter. I then had to go back then 3 or 4 months later, and I had to have a Hickman line in place, and I have this Vellectri, which I'll come to in a minute, that is driven by a pump, and it goes straight into my heart, and it picks up the oxygen and opens up the blood vessels as it's going round. Otherwise I turn blue. The medication that I'm on is on a daily basis. I have to do 9 o'clock every night. I have to change my pump on my Vellectri pump. A little cassette that I make up every day. I have a syringe which I put saline into. Then I had to mix the Vellectri into it, and then I have to attach it to the bottom of the pump, which then goes into my pouch, and I'm good to go for 24 hours. I'm on 24 hours oxygen. I do also have other daily problems, which I have an underactive thyroid. I've got diabetes, which I'm now on insulin, which I was only on metformin before, because obviously the medication that's going into my pump is actually having a side effect, so it's made my diabetes go up. But Professor Lewis is very good, and he understands my condition, and he's doing everything that he can. To live on this with a daily basis is very, very awkward. I am strong-willed, and I am a very independent person, and I would like to mention that if it wasn't for Professor Keir Lewis and his respiratory staff and the staff at all the staff, this is from the healthcare to the nurses to the diabetes, I honestly don't think I would be here today if it wasn't for the fact that they are so good. I would also like to mention that I think Wirral need to educate GPs in such a way that my local hospital, they didn't look outside the box. They just saw, and because they said I smoked, I had COPD. I do think they need to listen to patients more, understand when something's not quite right and doesn't fit, and I do think that my local hospital especially, they need to be retrained. And this is how I live.